Let me read you just a couple of headlines in 3 buckets. First, our rivals are superior in effective military power. America's enemies claim victory in technology race. Second bucket, no easy cure for the American economy in sight. Stock prices plunge. President sets price ceilings. And the third bucket, this decade will see a disintegrating international order, and the era of US dominance is finished. Sounds a lot like the doom and gloom of the last few months, right? You'd think so, but no. The first set of these headlines, real newspaper headlines, is actually from the 1950s and 60s when we were worried about the Soviet missile gap and about Sputnik. Did the US complain or give up? No. We worked on a bipartisan basis to revamp our science and technology education system, to kindle Silicon Valley and other innovation hubs, and we became the most innovative economy in the world. The second set of headlines are from the economic worries of the 1960s and the stagflation of the 1970s. What did we do? We took some painful economic medicine, we raised interest rates, we got it under control, and eventually we created the longest economic boom in our history. And the third set of headlines, the defeatist talk about the disintegrating international order and US dominance being finished, those are actually from the early 1980s, believe it or not. Did we turn tail and go home? No. We finished the Cold War peacefully with some ingenious diplomacy. We reunited Europe, and we weathered many crises successfully in the last 3 decades.
Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and who you just heard was Anya Manuel. She is on the board of directors for the company Ripple. She was speaking at the Aspen Security Forum in July, and I like her perspective because I think a lot of life is about perspective. I think there's something to be said about the law of attraction. If you throw a lot of negativity out there, you get a lot of negativity back. And the reverse is quite the opposite. Case in point. In today's video, we're going to look at some swell speakers. And there is a private Ripple invitation video that I watched on CBDCs. I'll give a quick recap on that. And volume on 2 ODL exchanges up over Binance for the first time. All right, everybody, let's go. The annual Ripple Swell event, which usually has some big announcements, is going to happen in November. And after the Ripple Singapore Swell back in 2019, the decision was made to curb the attendance of the XRP community members. We saw that play out for 2020 and 2021. And I was kind of hoping that 2022 would be maybe more inclusive. So I sent an invitation request and they sent me back an email that said it was received. I don't have high hopes, but I would love to attend on the virtual side. Ripple Bobby XRP replied to my posting and said he thought it was a bad idea in 2019, and it's still a very bad idea during the lawsuit. Wait till after the settlement and or IPO. Yeah, he might be right. Ripple has posted some of the speakers, and there are 2 that I'm thinking are going to have some ODL announcements. The first would be coming from HiHa, which is a payments transfer company in Vietnam. And then there is XBot that runs a corridor from Sweden to Thailand. Take a look at their website. They've been in business since 2016, and as you can see, it says it's powered by Ripplenet. And the interesting thing for me was among all those Thai banks, CITIBANK is among them. The Digital Pound Foundation on Twitter tweeted out a link to this particular page, which is a CBDC interoperability bridging the gap of innovation video that is by private invitation only. You have to fill out this form. I did a recap for my Patreons. I'm going to play just a portion of that video for you. And if you are interested in viewing it in its entirety, then find the link from the Twitter Digital Pound Foundation Twitter feed. James Wallace opens up the event with Daryl Duffy. And like I said, the legal disclaimer that this was a private event was made clear. And I was so surprised that only 72 views had been calculated or, tabulated on this video at the time I watched it yesterday. And the video was created about 4 months ago. And of course, we have Wallace talking about the overarching mission of Ripple is to move money like an email, and that they see CBDCs as the next step going further beyond just Ripplenet. And then what was interesting is he said that they could only talk publicly about Bhutan and Palau. Those are the two countries that have been publicly announced Ripple is helping or assisting with their development and building out of CBDCs. But obviously, they're helping other people. They just are not able to make that public yet, or who knows? It might be a pilot program that we'll never know about. It's hard to say. We're going to move on to the final story, but you know what? I really need to mention something, and that is if you don't get a chance to watch that video, there is a portion of it where they're discussing a possible business model that could blossom out of the stable coins. And that is the commercial banks could issue their own stable coin and compete against the other banks, which competition would be good for the end user for sure. And if you can imagine, the programmable stable coin, which is tied to fiat, would be able to incentivize you to bank with Bank A instead of Bank B, because as a programmable instrument, they could tie yield to it, they could tie rewards, they could tie any sort of promotional scheme that makes you think, wow, this is a great benefit. I want to bank with this bank because their digital stablecoin has these rewards or has these perks to it. And that whole concept is really very interesting. Anyway, there's a whole lot in that video that's worth reviewing. All right, we're going to jump to now where Short the FOMO, who is the dev behind 3xrp.dev, he's tracking ODL. This is on-demand liquidity. That is where the digital asset is used as a bridge currency. And look at Bitso and Bitstamp. These are the really two big ODL exchanges that help facilitate that process. And the volume is well over Binance, which usually Binance is always in the lead. They have slipped to number 3 starting out for this month. I know it's early still, but very interesting kind of flip-flop here. And then if you look down below, the Independent Reserve, they're in Sydney, Australia, and they're moving up quite nicely. We know that they are facilitating ODL. So I can't wait for the official numbers. And I think the other important thing to look at is when you see the volume in column on the left versus volume out, Binance has more out than in by quite a bit. But the ODL exchanges, Bitso, Bitstamp, Independent Reserve, their volume ins remain higher than their volume outs. That's a good thing. So, the other question people will probably ask is, well, if ODL is doing so well, why isn't the price moving up? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is there's a huge circulating supply of XRP. So it's just a matter of we need more corridors, we need more volume and more activity, which will drive that demand, which has the impact on supply. And the other thing, too, is the whole dang market is attached at the hip to Bitcoin, unfortunately. And we've been saying for years that utility is going to allow us to break free of that. I do think that day will come. I actually thought it would have happened by now, but more than 95% of the digital assets are just moving in tandem with whatever Bitcoin is doing. I can't wait for the day when that ends. All right, everybody, let's jump to the fluff. I'm going to leave you with a smile and share some of the most recent work of Tanaka Tatsuya. He is a miniature artist that uses everyday items and then creates these really fantasy type of scenarios. We have a contact lens solution holder, and you can see the floating contact lenses in the middle between the two characters who are battling their force of power. I don't think this image takes too much to explain. You have Luke Skywalker on the left with Yoda on top of the watermelon. This miniature life is one that was done on August 31st, and Superman with laser pasta. I saved the best for last, which, well, for me, this is the best one. September 2nd, he created this bed of ramen. Yes, makes me smile. I just love this guy's work. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.